Okay, hello guys, and welcome to my video lecture. So yesterday we had completed with the part which was tRNA as an adapter molecule. Okay, today we'll be starting with the last part of protein synthesis, which is called as translation. Okay, so let's begin with translation. So friends, what is the meaning of translation? What do you think is translation? So basically translation is the process which occurs in the cytoplasm, which is very important to remember. Okay, and in this process what is going to happen is the codons which are present on the mRNA, they will call the respective tRNAs, correct? So anticodons are present on the tRNAs and anticodons are complementary to the codons present on the mRNA. And what is the function of the tRNA? We have already learned that the tRNAs are basically carrying the amino acids. So they will bring the amino acid, they will attach to the codon, so there will be a bonding between the mRNA and the tRNA, and then later on those amino acids are linked together and they are used to form a polypeptide chain, and that is done by ribosomes. Okay, so very important to know that ribosomes play a very important role in translation, and that is why we call ribosomes as protein factories, because if there were no ribosomes there would be no translation. So basically there are three things which are helping in translation: your mRNA, your tRNA which is attached with an amino acid, and your ribosomes. Okay, now many of you will ask, what about rRNA? Now rRNA is ribosomal RNA, and RNAs are only made up of ribosomal RNA. So if I am talking about ribosomes, it's the same thing. Ribosomal RNA will only form ribosomes. Okay, so it's the same thing, correct? So I hope this is clear. So this is occurring in cytoplasm, correct? Now first of all, let us have a look at the requirements which we are going to need for translation. What are the different things which we are going to need? So let me write down over here requirements. The three main requirements are, there will be first of all mRNA, correct? Then there will be transfer RNA. Obviously that transfer RNA will be attached with amino acid, so that, then the ribosomes. Okay, ribosomes matlab hi ribosomal RNA. Then what else will be required? Apart from this, to carry out translation you will require energy. Energy is in the form of adenosine triphosphate. Then you require enzymes. Okay, so just like you require enzymes in transcription, you require enzymes in translation also. Okay, then you require certain factors to end translation, which are called as release factors, RELEASE. Okay, so these are required. Okay, and also certain ions are required. For example, magnesium ions are required. So I will tell you why these are required. Okay, so these things are basically required for doing translation. Okay, is this clear? In your book they have also added translocation to this list. Translocation is not actually a requirement, it is just a movement, so I will explain that to you when the time comes. So is this clear? So what is translation? Using of mRNA to call the tRNA along with the amino acid, and then forming a polypeptide chain out of those amino acids with the help of ribosomes is called as translation. Transcription plus translation together are responsible for protein synthesis, correct? These are the requirements. Okay, now before we start with translation, you have to first of all know about the ribosome, because every other component we have learned mRNA, we have learned tRNA. What about the ribosomes? If you remember, I have already taught you this in your 11th standard, that ribosomes are different in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. For example, the prokaryotic ribosomes which are present, okay, these are 70S ribosomes, whereas eukaryotic ribosomes which are present, these are 80S ribosomes. Do you remember this? S stands for Swedberg unit. Okay, so I will write down over here if you want. S is Swedberg Berg units, correct? And if you remember, those ribosomes are made up of two parts. They are called as subunits. Okay, so each ribosome, suppose if we are talking about the prokaryotic ribosome, which is a 70S, then that 70S ribosome is made up of two parts, one smaller part and one larger part, and together, both of them together will form the 70S ribosome. I am talking about the prokaryote. So if I break down that 70S into the two subunits or two subparts, then I can write 70S as 50S plus 30S. I think I have explained this. Okay, now this is not addition, so don't confuse this. This is based on sedimentation coefficient, how the centrifuge will help them to sediment. So let's not get into that. Remember this breakdown. Similarly, if I'm talking about the eukaryotic chromosome, then the 80S entire ribosome will be broken down into larger subunit of 60S and smaller subunit of 40S. Again, not addition. Okay, so this is for prokaryotic, this is for eukaryotic. Okay, is this clear? Now translation process is almost the same in prokaryotic and eukaryotic, so I am not going to take numbers. Please remember, there is a larger subunit of ribosome and there is a smaller subunit of ribosome. Is this clear? Okay, so shall we move ahead? Okay, now going ahead, suppose if I want to draw these ribosomes. Okay, now just imagine that this part which I am drawing, this is a smaller subunit of the ribosome. Okay, let us say for example I am talking about the eukaryotic ribosome. Then on top of this will be attached the larger subunit of ribosome. So what will be this? If I am talking about eukaryotic ribosome, this will be 40S and this part will be 60S, and together they will form 80S. So this is actually 80S, separately this is 60, this is 40, correct? Now these ribosomes have basically three areas. So when translation is going to occur, it is going to occur inside the ribosomes. So ribosomes are actually hollow. You can imagine ribosomes like this. This is the smaller subunit below, this is the larger subunit on the top, and inside it is hollow. Okay, so inside it is hollow and all the translation is going to occur inside the ribosome. Can you understand this? Okay, so you can imagine that the tRNAs are going to go inside mRNA. So basically see, the mRNA is like this. The mRNA goes between these two. Okay, so the 5' is over here, 3' is over here, and the tRNA also goes and attaches over here. So basically the larger subunit is covering the entire translation assembly. Okay, now there are three areas where the tRNA can actually be present in the ribosome. Okay, so the ribosome is divided into three areas. So if we see, if we look over here, I can call this as one of the areas, I can call this as one of the areas, and this as one of the areas. Similarly over here, this and this. Okay, this first region is called as the A region, this second region is called the P, and the third is called E. And each of these regions is equal to the length of one codon. So if I say that this, if I say that the sequence is, okay, I should use another pen, I will use yellow color, correct? So if I write the sequence over here, so I am not writing over here, I am writing here AUG. Suppose this is GGG. So can you see this area length or this area width is exactly equal to the width of the codon. So basically when the tRNA comes for translation, it can attach to this area, it can attach to this area, or it can attach in this area. It will be attached to the mRNA only, but the area where it is present in the ribosome, it can be present in A site, P site, E site. How do you remember ape? Everybody knows apes, gorilla, chimpanzee, just write it ulta. I will tell you the short forms later on. It is given in the book, पहले ही दिया हुआ है, but I feel it will confuse you. So when I teach you translation, at that time I will explain the full forms. Is this clear? Is the ribosome clear? Suppose if I am talking about the prokaryotic ribosome, then this smaller unit will become 30S, and this larger subunit will become 50s. Is this clear? Is the ribosome clear? Okay. Now, normally in the cytoplasm of a cell, the ribosome subunits are separate. The larger and smaller subunit are never together. They are always separate. But only during translation, both these green units come together. Are you getting me? So, for translation to take these two units together and join them, the cell requires magnesium ions. So now you understand why we require magnesium ions, because you need to join the two subunits together. Okay, so it is like a protective covering. And this space which you see, that is the tunnel. Through that tunnel the mRNA will pass, tRNA will also be there. Okay, also remember, in this larger subunit there are spaces for the polypeptide chain to grow. Okay, so when I show you the diagram, I will be showing you the amino acid chain. So there is space for amino acid chain to grow. There is space for a new tRNA to come also, because you will say if it is covered, how will the new tRNA come? So there are spaces for tRNA to enter. There is space for the polypeptide chain to grow. All that is there, and this space between the two is called groove. Okay, GROOVE, and the groove is the place through which the mRNA passes. Is this clear? Okay, so I have told you what a ribosome is. Now let us start with the actual process of translation. So just like transcription, translation is basically divided into three parts. Okay, and those three parts are going to be, first is going to be initiation, second is going to be elongation, and the third is going to be termination. Those same parts, just like in transcription. Initiation means beginning, elongation means when the polypeptide chain will be formed, one after the other the amino acid will be added to each other. Termination is when translation stops. Is this clear? Now first of all we are going to start with initiation. Okay, so friends, we are beginning with translation now. Please pay attention. Okay, very easy concept, not at all difficult, so pay attention. Let us start. So let us start with the first part of translation, that is called as initiation. Now what happens first in initiation? First of all, you need to connect the amino acid to the tRNA, because the amino acid are not connected to the tRNA. You need to connect them. So if you remember, I told you that the 3' end is the end where the amino acid attaches, correct? Okay, so suppose if I show the tRNA like this. Now I am drawing a very simple diagram. Okay, so I am drawing the tRNA like this, correct? These will be the two arms. This is the DHU, this is the T side C, and this is the anticodon, correct? This is the 5' end, this is the 3' end. I am drawing a very simple tRNA, not in detail. I am not showing loops and all. So suppose if this is the amino acid, okay, suppose if we are talking about the amino acid methionine, MET, then what will be the sequence? This attaches to AUG, so the sequence over here is going to be U, A and C. Now to attach this methionine to this 3' end, what is required? There is an enzyme which is required. Okay, and where does that enzyme come from? That enzyme comes from this DHU loop. Now this is not given in the book. Okay, so DHU releases an enzyme which helps the amino acid to bind to the 3' end. So what happens is, when that enzyme is released, that amino acid goes and binds to this 3' end. Okay, so your methionine will be attached over here. Now this complex which is formed where the amino acid is attached to the tRNA is called as amino acyl tRNA complex. Okay, this step is also called as activation of amino acids. So what is activation of amino acids? When the amino acid is attached to the tRNA, it is called as activation. When it is not attached and it is freely flowing in the cytoplasm, it is called inactive. Okay, so activation means when the amino acid is attached to 3' end, and the entire complex formed This entire complex is called as amino-acyl tRNA complex. Now, for those who are wondering what is the enzyme which attaches this amino acid to this 3' end, the name of the enzyme I'm going to write over here. It is not there in the book. It is extra information. Maybe for NEET it may be important. So the name of the enzyme is amino acyl tRNA synthetase. This is the name of the enzyme which attaches the amino acid to the 3'. Where is this amino acid coming from? Over here. So that is why, if you remember, this arm is also called as the amino acyl arm. If you remember, I told you this is the DHU or the amino acyl. Why? Because it produces the enzyme. This is not given in the book. Okay, so this is extra information, no need to remember this. Okay, so I will rub this off. So is this clear? So what is the first thing that is happening in initiation? Formation of amino acyl tRNA complex. Now this can also be written as amino acid tRNA complex, same thing. So you can write amino acyl or you can write amino acid tRNA complex, same thing. Okay, so first thing that happens is this complex is formed, amino acid is attached to tRNA. What is the next thing that is going to happen? The next thing that is going to happen is that now you have your mRNA. So what I will do is I will rub this off. Okay, you have your mRNA which is present in the cytoplasm. Why is it present in the cytoplasm? Because transcription is over, so from the nucleus it will go into the cytoplasm. Okay, so I will draw the mRNA with this yellow color. So this is your mRNA which is already waiting in the cytoplasm. Now first of all, what is going to happen is the shorter or the smaller subunit of the ribosome is going to attach to this 5' end, and for ribosome I am going to use the green color. Okay, so I am going to use this. Now suppose I attach this over here. Okay, so the smaller subunit of the ribosome always attaches below the mRNA on the 5' end. Okay, now how does the ribosome know which end is the 5', which end is the 3'? Can you tell me? I have already explained this. How will the ribosome come to know which end is the 5', which is the 3'? See, in the post-transcriptional process, we had done 3 modifications. The second one was capping. So capping mein what do? The cell adds the nucleotide methylguanosine triphosphate. So MG_PP is there. So the ribosome can recognize the 5' end. Correct? There is MG_PP over here. So anyway, so first thing that happens is activation of amino acid. After that, the next thing that happens is the smaller subunit of the ribosome attaches to the 5' end. Now, this ribosome is made up of 3 parts, you know, A site, P site and E site. I have told you. So suppose if this is the A site, this is the P site and this is the E site, then the arrangement of this smaller subunit is in such a way that this P site is exactly below the sequence AUG. Okay, so the arrangement of the smaller subunit is in such a way that the P site is below the AUG. The E site or the A site are not supposed to be below the AUG. Only the P site will be present below the AUG. Now what will happen? What will be the next step? Next step is that the tRNA will come. Which tRNA will come? The tRNA having the sequence which is complementary to this. So UAC sequence tRNA will come. What amino acid will that tRNA be carrying? Obviously methionine, because AUG codes for methionine. Now please remember friends, I am going to use the color blue for tRNA, but tRNA now I am going to draw just like this because I can't keep on drawing that 3D structure. It will take up the space here. So now tRNA I am going to draw like this, a rectangle, and to that the amino acid whatever is attached, and here will be the anticodon. So I will not be showing the DHU and T-CIC loop. I hope it is understood because there is space problem over here. So I am going to show the tRNA like this. So the first tRNA will come, okay, and that first tRNA will come and it will attach here. Okay, what will be the sequence on the tRNA? It will be U, A and C, and there will be a bonding. You know hydrogen bonds, ANU double hydrogen, ANU double, CNG triple, correct? And The enzyme attached to this, the amino acid attached to this will be methionine, MAT. Now what will happen is, as soon as the first tRNA comes, then the larger subunit of ribosome which is present, that will cover this up. Okay, so first to the mRNA the smaller subunit attached in such a way that the P site, the P area of the smaller subunit is exactly below the AUG. Then what happens is, the first tRNA comes and attaches to the P site. Obviously the P area is there, so it will attach to the AUG with its complementary codon UAC. As soon as the first tRNA attaches, then the larger subunit goes and attaches over it. So it is like a cap, it is covering this assembly. This is basically your first step of translation, called as initiation. Is this clear? So what all things are we learning in initiation? First of all, we are learning activation of amino acids, where the amino acid is attached to the 3' open end of the tRNA, which is having that CCA sequence. I also told you there is an enzyme which helps to attach it. You don't need to remember the enzyme. That is called activation. Once the amino acids have been activated, what will be the next step? The free mRNA which is present, that will get attached by the smaller subunit of the ribosome. Depends, if it is eukaryotic it will be 40S, if it is prokaryotic it will be 30S. And the arrangement will be such that the P site is exactly below the AUG. Then will come the first tRNA having methionine, because AUG codes for methionine. And then will come the larger subunit. Again, the larger subunit, which area will coincide with this? P site only. So see, if I am drawing the larger subunit, this is your E site, this is your A site, and this is the P site where your tRNA is attached. Is this clear? So what you need to remember in translation is, the start codon is positioned in the P area of the ribosome. So the first tRNA which enters having the amino acid methionine will enter the P area. A and E areas are open. Also remember, each of these areas is equal to 1 codon. Now your translation part is over. So everything has been attached. Okay, the mRNA is attached to the ribosomes or the rRNA, and the tRNA is also attached to the mRNA, and the amino acid is attached to the tRNA. So everything is now together. Is this clear? This is called as initiation. Now we are going to start the formation of the polypeptide chain. Now, very important to remember that now what is going to happen is, this ribosome which is present, it is going to move in this direction. Means that it is going to move from 5' to 3'. The mRNA and the tRNA are not going to move. Please remember this. Many people confuse this part. They think that the mRNA moves through the ribosome or the tRNA moves. No, mRNA and tRNA are where they are. The tRNA will go and attach to the mRNA. That is it. Who is going to move? The ribosome is going to move. So the larger and smaller subunits will move, and that movement is called translocation. Okay, so what happens is, every time the ribosome moves, it covers 1 codon. So what is going to happen is, suppose if the next codon over here is G, okay, so I should use the yellow pen, correct? So the next codon over here is GGG. Then what is going to happen is, as the ribosome moves one step ahead, this tRNA which is present in the P site, that tRNA is going to be switched over here. Are you understanding this? So the tRNA or the mRNA are not moving. The ribosome is moving from left to right, or it is moving from 5' to 3', 1 codon at a time. Is this clear? So if I want to show you that diagram in short, because many people confuse this, then the diagram is going to be like this. Suppose this is the first part. Okay, I was drawing the ribosome. So this is the smaller subunit, this is the larger subunit. In the next diagram, what is going to happen is, this is going to move slightly towards the right side. So 5 prime to 3 prime I have drawn, and then this will go ahead. Obviously I am not showing the tRNA it is present. Then the next diagram, what is going to happen, slowly and steadily the ribosome is going to move to the end. Is this clear? Are you getting my point? So the ribosome is only moving from left to right, 5 to 3. tRNA and mRNA are not moving. Clear? Is initiation clear? Let us go to the second step of translation, which is called as elongation. Okay, so now we come to the next step, which is called as step number 2, elongation. Very important step, because this is where most of the translation happens. Now again, what we are going to draw is, we are going to draw your mRNA. So I am drawing the mRNA over here. Okay, 5 prime, 3 prime. Now I am going to draw the tRNA which is attached. So the tRNA was in blue color. So suppose if the tRNA is attached over here, this was the one having methionine, MET, correct? And the sequence here was UAC. The sequence here was AUG, and there was a bonding, all the bonding between them, correct? And what do I have to draw next? I have to also draw the ribosome. So this is the ribosome smaller unit, this is the ribosome larger unit. Okay, this space over here is empty, which is the E site. This space over here is empty, which is the A site, and the P site is where the tRNA is present. Now what is going to happen is, if I want to show step 2, then in step 2, suppose if there is sequence GGG over here, okay, so triple G is present below the A site. So what is going to happen is, another tRNA will come. What will be the sequence present on the tRNA? It will be C, 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 correct? Triple C will be the sequence present, and GG, if you remember, it codes for amino acid glycine. So it will be in glycine with it. So again I am going to draw the second diagram. I am just going to continue this. Now what will happen is, this is your okay, so this is your mRNA, this is 5 prime, this is 3 prime, correct? Now I am going to, this is going to be your AUG, voila. So this is methionine attached to AUG, and in the next side I am showing amino acid which is glycine. And what am I going to write over here? I am going to write AUG GGG, correct? What will be the sequence over here? The sequence over here is C, C, C. Sequence over here is UAC. I have less space, so I am doing that. I hope this is clear. Okay, if this is not visible, then try to watch it on a larger screen if possible. Okay, if you have a laptop or if you have a smart TV, then please try to watch it on a larger screen, because I know that this might not be easily visible. Okay, so now which site is empty? The site over here, which is your E site, it is still empty. Okay, and again I will draw the larger subunit, smaller subunit. Are you getting this? So now what has happened is, the new tRNA has come and it has entered this A site. So now this A site and this P site both are full. The exit E site is open, so it is still free. Now what happens is, as soon as these A and P sites are full with the tRNAs, there is an enzyme which forms a bond between these two amino acids. Okay, so I will show a bond like this, and the bond between the amino acids is a peptide bond. Okay, so this enzyme which is forming the bond between the tRNAs at P site and tRNA at A site, this enzyme is given in your book and it is called as ribozyme. Okay, so ribozyme is the name of the enzyme which forms a peptide bond between these two adjacent amino acids. Actually the name of this enzyme is peptidyl transferase. So if you want, I will write down over here peptidyl transferase. See, the thing is that ribozyme is a very general name. Ribozyme is any enzyme which is formed by the RNA, that is called as ribozyme. But which RNA enzyme is present? Peptidyl transferase. It is called peptidyl transferase because it forms a peptide bond. Next, what this enzyme does is, this enzyme also breaks the bond between this tRNA and this amino acid. So first of all, this enzyme, ribozyme or peptidyl transferase, so I will rub this off because this is not given in the book. The name of the enzyme given in your book is ribozyme. So ribozyme is creating a peptide bond between these two, and it is also breaking the bond between this amino acid or this tRNA at P side and the amino acid. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to directly rub this part off, and I'm just going to change the diagram, and the diagram is going to be somewhat like this. So now I'm going to rub this, and what is going to happen is that amino acid is now attached to this, correct? And obviously there is a peptide bond between this, so this is your methionine. Are you understanding what has happened? The tRNA at the P site or the middle site has just given its amino acid to the tRNA at the A site. The A site already had its original amino acid. So this methionine is not attached to tRNA, this methionine is attached to glycine. Okay, some student had that doubt, how can one tRNA carry two amino acids? That other amino acid is just attached to this. It is not attached to this tRNA directly. Is this clear? Or have you understood up till now? Who is helping in attaching these two amino acids? Ribozyme. Who is helping in breaking the bond between this tRNA and this amino acid? Ribozyme. Now what is the next step? Now the ribosome will shift one step ahead. So this ribosome that you see, that will move one codon to the right, and that movement is called as translocation. So translocation is basically the movement of ribosome, both the larger and smaller subunits, from 5' end to the 3' end, but only one codon. It will move ahead only one codon. So now what is going to happen is, just imagine if these tRNAs remain as they are, this mRNA remains as it is, and if suppose this ribosome shifts, then what is going to happen is, this tRNA which is empty now because it has not got amino acid, that will shift at the E site. This tRNA which has got these two amino acids, that will get shifted to the P site, and your A site will become empty. Are you clear why? Because this ribosome is going to shift one codon to the right, or it is going to shift one codon towards the 3' end. So now if after translocation I want to draw the diagram, then how should I draw it? So I will try to make a bigger diagram so that you people understand. This is your 5', this is your 3'. Okay, I am trying to show that the ribosome has shifted ahead. So now I am going to again show the tRNA. Okay, so now just see the same position. This is your first tRNA, correct? This is your second tRNA, which has got the two amino acids which are attached, same glycine and methionine, and this third space which is present, that will be empty. So now your A site is empty, this is your P site. So this first tRNA which is now empty, that is shifted to E site. So I have shown it over here, it is empty. This tRNA which is having these two amino acids, that is shifting to the left, so that is at the P site. And now this first site has become empty. So they are actually not shifting, the ribosome is shifting, that is why this has happened. Now we can show the ribosome cover. So I can show that this is the larger subunit, this is the smaller subunit, and as you can see, it has moved slightly towards the right. Is this clear? This movement is called as translocation. Now what is going to happen? Very simple. Now I will tell you the full form of all the sites. Now just pay attention. This site is called A site, correct? This, if you want, I will write over here, this is called P, this is called E. Now why is this called as E site? Because this is the exit site. Exit means to go away. See, this tRNA which is at the exit site, this same one, it has done its job, it has got the amino acid, now it is empty, now it has got no use, so it will go. So this exit site is the site for the empty tRNA to go out. Are you understanding? P site is called as the peptidal site. So if you want, I will write over here A is equal to P is equal to E is equal to. E is the exit side through which the empty tRNA will go. P is also called as the peptidal site, that is where the peptide bond is formed. You remember this? Peptide bond formed between these two tRNAs. So this is the peptidal site, and A is the amino acyl site. So amino acyl site is the site where the new tRNA enters. So every tRNA except the first tRNA, if you remember, the first tRNA entered the P site, but after that every other tRNA will first enter the A site, like this one. Now again, when the new tRNA will enter this empty A site, it is going to come here. So amino acyl site is the site where the first tRNA enters except the original tRNA. Except the tRNA UAC, all the other tRNAs first enter this site of the ribosome. Is this clear? So A is amino acyl, where apart from the first tRNA, all the other tRNAs enter. P is the peptidal site, where the peptide bond is formed and the bond is broken between this tRNA and this amino acid. That is done by ribozyme, or it is done by peptidal transferase, and E is the exit site. Now again, what is going to happen? Another new tRNA is going to come. So in this diagram only I am going to show the change. So I am going to rub this green part off, correct, and I am going to show one more tRNA which has come. Now this tRNA, suppose, so now see the sequence over here. So see, the AUG sequence is over here. Now glycine GGG is over here, because they have all moved towards the left side because of the right side movement of the ribosome. And now suppose if the new sequence over here is say UUU at the A site, then what is going to happen is the new tRNA which will come, that tRNA will have the sequence AAA. If you remember, UUU is coding for phenylalanine, so phenylalanine will be over here, PHE. This will be your methionine, MET, and this will be your glycine, GLY, and this is phenylalanine, and this is at the A site. Okay, correct. Now this site is obviously going to be empty because the empty tRNA has gone out. I have told you there are spaces for the tRNA to go out. Similarly, there is space for accommodating this growing chain of amino acid. So now I am going to rub this empty site off, okay, and I am going to show it in green color because that is an empty site. Okay, so again this green color is empty. So green color is denoting ribosome and it is empty. If I am showing tRNA, I am showing blue. Is this clear? Is this clear now? Now what is going to happen? Again the same thing is going to repeat. What is going to repeat? Now these two amino acids I need to transfer over here. So ribozyme will again create a bond between these two. Okay, so what will the ribozyme do? The ribozyme is going to create a peptide bond between these two, and it is also going to do what? It is going to break this bond. So what is going to happen is this bond will be broken and these two amino acids on this tRNA will now be shifted over here. So here I will have 3 amino acids, the order will be same. This is phenylalanine, this is glycine, and over here is methionine. And this chain, as you see, it can begin to go out of the ribosome. There is space. Again this is empty. Now as soon as this peptide bond has been formed and these amino acids have been shifted, what will happen? Translocation will happen. That means what? The ribosome will shift one side towards the 3' end. So this next codon, whatever it is, that will come at the A site. This AUG codon will go here, this GGG will go below E, and this UUU will go below P. Is this clear? So every time translocation is happening at what time? It is occurring after this ribozyme is showing its effect. So please remember, first thing that happens is that this peptide, this amino acids, whatever they are shifted over here by this ribozyme and the bond is broken. And then what happens is, as soon as this tRNA at the P site is empty, translocation occurs, and obviously this site will be empty because the earlier previous tRNA which was empty, that has been thrown out. If it has not been thrown out, then they cannot be shifted because all the sites will be blocked. Now again, what is going to happen? Suppose if I want to draw another diagram, then this is your 5 prime, this is your 3 prime. Okay, now so next translocation will be over here. I am showing the anti-tRNA. This tRNA is the one having the 3 amino acid, and my A site is empty because of translocation. I hope they have shifted. Again, the sequence AUG will be somewhere over here. The next sequence will be GGG, which is over here. The next is UUU, and there will be another sequence over here. So that will keep on coming. And finally, what do I draw? Draw the larger subunit, smaller. Is this clear? Is this clear? So what is happening is, every time the tRNA is moving one side to the 3 prime and one codon. So what is going to happen is, this tRNA, the ribosome is moving one step towards the 3 prime end. So because of this translocation movement, this ribosome is going to cover all the codons which are present over here, and this will continue to happen till the codon over here is a stop codon. As soon as a stop codon, okay, so suppose if the sequence over here is UAA, or it is UGA, or it is UAG, as soon as a stop codon comes in the area A, translation ends. So is this clear? Is this elongation part clear? How is the elongation happening? So once again, I will just revise this fast. So the first tRNA, which is the UAC anticodon tRNA, it enters at the P site, attaches to the AUG. Correct, it is bringing methionine. Then comes the next tRNA, which goes to the A site, that will be complementary to the next codon, whatever it is, and it will bring the respective amino acid. Next, what is going to happen is, the ribozyme enzyme is going to basically form the peptide bond between these two amino acids, and it will break the bond between tRNA and that amino acid. So those amino acids will be shifted to this tRNA. Now what is going to happen is, as soon as this shift is done, translocation occurs, the ribosome will move one step, one codon to the 3 prime end, and because of that, this will shift. This P wala khali tRNA will shift at the E site, this A wala tRNA having this will shift at the P site, and A site will be empty. Again, what will happen is, another tRNA will come to the A site. Again, between P and A, the amino acid will be shifted to A. Then again, what will happen is, this empty one will go over here, it will be thrown out again. So every time that translocation is happening after the peptide bond has been formed by ribozyme. Clear? So this continues to happen, and finally what is going to happen is, at the end, there will be a point where the stop codon comes here on the mRNA, and this amino acid chain is very, very long. This has formed because of transferring of amino acid. Okay, so this is where your elongation part ends. Is this clear? Is elongation clear? This is the main part of translation. Okay, so this is where your elongation part ends. The next part is called as termination. Is this clear? Okay, now this is basically the part which takes the maximum time, but total translation time is less than 0.1 seconds. Just imagine how fast it is. So total translation takes less than 0.1 seconds to happen. So just imagine how fast this is happening, how fast the amino acids are getting attached. Please remember, the order of the amino acids will be the same. This will be methionine first, this will be glycine, then whatever will be the order, phenylalanine, that or same order will be present, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Okay, so that order will remain as it is. Is this clear? Is elongation clear? Okay, so the ribosome is basically going to cover all the codons present on the mRNA. Finally, it is going to reach a point where there is the stop codon. So this ribosome, suppose it moves over here, there is a stop codon. So when the stop codon comes at A, now the stop codon doesn't have any tRNA because stop codon doesn't code for any amino acid. So what happens is, I had told you about the release factors. So those release factors, they are basically 3 release factors. I will write them down. They are RF1, RF2 and RF3. So all the NEET students need to know this. This is given in your MTG. All the board students don't need to know this. They just have to know release factors. These 3 release factors are the proteins. So these 3 release factors will go and attach to this empty A site, and below them will be this UAA, UGA or UAG, any one of the stop codons in the mRNA. So these 3 will go and attach to the A site, and that is a signal. So now I am teaching you termination. So what happens in termination is the release factors go and attach to this empty A site because there is no tRNA for stop codon, because there is no amino acid for stop codon. And as soon as it attaches to this site, the first thing which happens is this polypeptide chain which is formed, that gets released. So this polypeptide, I am going to rub it off, because as soon as the release factors attach, they are released and that chain will be released into the cytoplasm. What will happen? Now to form protein, you need to package this, fold this. Packaging will occur in the Golgi. So from here it will go to the Golgi complex. I think you know that. It will travel via the endoplasmic reticulum, go to the Golgi, fold and form a protein. Next thing that is going to happen is these 2 subunits of the ribosome will separate from each other. So again they will go back into the cytoplasm. Okay, so both the subunits have separated, and the last thing that is going to happen is the tRNAs. See, there will be only one tRNA because this is anyway the exit site. This tRNA will separate from this mRNA and it will go back into the cytoplasm. What will happen of this mRNA? So see, this mRNA which is present, mRNAs have a life. Okay, so mRNA can do translation mostly only one time. So after one use it is discarded. So now this has done the translation. Now this will be destroyed by enzymes which are called as RNase. RNase is a type of a nuclease. Nuclease is an enzyme which destroys the nucleic acid. RNase destroys RNA, DNase destroys DNA. So the work of mRNA has been done. tRNA are not destroyed, they are kept in the cytoplasm. They are again free. Again during translation they will attach with the respective amino acid. Similarly, ribosomes are also not destroyed. These 2 subunits are there. So please remember, rRNA and tRNA are only formed once for transcription, then they are used lifelong. Whereas mRNA, every time after its use it is destroyed, so transcription has to be done to produce mRNA again and again. Okay, and which polymerase do we use for mRNA? RNA polymerase 2, DNA dependent RNA polymerase 2. For rRNA, DNA dependent RNA polymerase 1, and for tRNA, DNA dependent RNA polymerase 3. Is this clear? So we have finished with termination and we have finished with protein synthesis. The entire time taken is less than 0.1 seconds. Is this part clear? I hope this part is clear. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to attach a link in the description of this video. Okay, please check out. There is a video on how transcription and translation occurs. Brilliant video. Okay, so if this is very difficult for you to imagine, then you can see that video. It is the same thing that I have given over here. So what are the important points in translation? Let us just revise this first. First of all, what is translation? Translation is basically attaching the amino acids together to form a protein. Who helps in that? mRNA, tRNA and ribosomes. So now you know why ribosomes are called protein factories, because without them translation won't occur. Next, initiation, elongation and termination are the 3 parts. Okay, initiation mein what happens? Initiation mein first of all activation of the amino acid. The amino acid attaches to the 3' end of the tRNA, that is called as activation. Next, what will happen? The mRNA is there. To the mRNA, the 5' end will attach the smaller subunit of the ribosome from below. Then the positioning of the ribosome is in such a way that the P site, the middle site, is below the start codon. Next, what is going to happen? The tRNA will come the first tRNA carrying methionine, it will come at the P site. Only tRNA to enter the P site first. Then larger subunit will form the cap. This is called as initiation. Elongation mein what will happen? New tRNA will come at the A site. Then what is going to happen? The amino acid at P site and amino acid at A site will form a peptide bond. That is because of enzyme ribozyme or peptidal transferase. Then the tRNA and the amino acid at the P site, they detach, and that amino acid of the P site tRNA goes to the A site. So now this A site wala tRNA will have both the amino acids. Next, what is going to happen is translocation is going to happen. The ribosome will move one step ahead. So this automatically goes over here, E site, this goes to the P site. Exit site say it will go out because this is empty. Again new tRNA will come depending on the codon below, and this will continue to happen till there is a stop codon over here. So this is called elongation. Is this clear? So you know what is elongation. Okay, next what is going to happen? Termination. As soon as at the A site there is a stop codon, what is going to happen is, as soon as there is a stop codon, the release factors will attach, that will release the polypeptide chain. It will go to Golgi, it will fold, form a protein. The ribosomes will detach, the tRNA will detach, mRNA will be destroyed by nucleases, tRNA will not be destroyed, RNA will not be, ribosome will not be destroyed. Okay friends, is this clear? I hope this is clear. Now the last part, quickly I wanted to explain the untranslated regions. Okay, what are UTRs? Now suppose if on this tRNA 5 prime to 3 prime, suppose if over here I draw the sequence UUU, then there is AUG, then there are sequence in between, then there is UAA stop codon, and there is GGG. Now what happens to this UUU and GGG? Will they be translated? No, they will not be translated. Why? Because this is present before the start codon. So start to idhar hi hone wala hai. This is not going to be translated. Similarly, this is after the stop. This is also not going to be translated. These regions are called as untranslated regions. So the mRNA is always going to have these sequences present before the start and after the stop codon, which will not be translated. That means their amino acids will not be in the polypeptide chain, and that is called as untranslated region. Is this clear? So friends, we have completed translation, we have completed the entire protein synthesis. Okay, so if you want, I will keep a revision lecture for transcription and translation later on. So that is it. Homework questions I will be giving you on the group. Okay, so that's the end of the lecture. Thank you very